Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name's Roberto. In this episode we're going to be talking about the exhaust system because it actually came. I'm very obviously shocked and surprised. 7 days from Italy, which is just amazing. Big thanks to CNC Racing who we bought through, and a massive thanks to Luca for organising it and getting it sent out. So the system we ended up going was a Terminioni, purely for the fact that we want to replicate that 916 look, and obviously back in the day they used the Termi system. So we thought we'd go one step further, and it's a big gamble because it kind of, we were told it fits, but it doesn't fit, but it does fit, and there's going to be a lot of things we're going to have to do. So the system we went was the Quattro Uscite, which in Italian that just means 4 exits because obviously it's a V4. Now we removed the majority of the exhaust, so basically everything's off now. There's no exhaust on the bike, so we could start sort of trial fitting and mocking up. We also were lucky enough that Simon Motorcycle Panel and Paint painted the rear subframe for us, and we picked that up yesterday, so we've just sort of mocked it up, which I'll show you in a sec. When we got the exhaust, it came through. Obviously our UPS man dropped it off. We were very excited to see it. As soon as it came in, obviously we started unpacking, so we'll go through a bit of a time lapse of the unpacking. One of the biggest things that I sort of noted was, wow, there is a lot of stuff in this kit. It's amazing everything that they've thought of, from obviously the upmap to the Sprint air filter, obviously their full exhaust, carbon fibre bits and pieces, even funnily enough a rear swing arm hugger I should say came in the kit as well. So they've really thought of everything. Now when we spoke to the factory, Termi, they said, yep, it'll fit, we've done it before, everything's great. We also liked the fact that it had a license plate holder that you could put on, so it wasn't something that we had to sort of mess around. But sometimes things can be way too easy, and this is exactly one of those points. So the first thing I noticed is when we removed the front exhaust from the front cylinder, cylinders I should say, it had, the stock system had obviously heat shielding, so we'll just come across here. So I've got, let me put the instructions down. I've got obviously the stock, this is the stock header that comes off, so just picture obviously the cylinder, the V4. So that basically goes like that. It has obviously heat shielding front and back because the radiator and fans are only millimeters away. So they've obviously thought about it from the factory because it's going to be a bike that's going to be ridden on the street, stop, start, like, all that type of stuff. But because this system, so this is the front section of the Termi, because it's race, it doesn't need any of that because there's no stop start. It's just go. You're going around in circles, maybe a couple of minutes in the pits, and then you're out. So that's awesome that it sort of is going to be really nice and flowing and all that. But the heat is going to pretty much, I think, cook the engine. I mean, it could, it couldn't, but this is the time that you need to start looking at this stuff. There's no point in building it all up and then obviously riding it to find that you've got issues after and have to pull everything off. We like to do things once, do it right, and that's it. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to work out some type of way to reduce the temps or have some type of heat shielding. So on that note, we're going to leave here very shortly and go and see the guys at CIC. So CIC, or Competition Industrial Coatings, they do obviously a ceramic, high temp ceramic coat. So we're going to basically see them and obviously have a look and see if we can ceramic coat part of the section. It is a massive shame because obviously it is titanium, and we want to sort of keep that. But in saying that, this part you don't actually see, so it's not a massive, huge letdown. That's what I thought. But then following on, we had issues with obviously the back. So we've mocked it up, and we'll go from a bit of a walk around now of the Street Fighter, and we've mocked up the back section, and it's only about 12-13 mils away from the fuel tank. The other issue is, again, because the Street Fighter is slightly different to the Panigale, and I should have really twigged on this knowing that the tank was different. So obviously the subframe's different and it's tubular, whereas obviously the Panigale is a 2-piece cast section. So a lot of the stuff, as in the heat shield here, which looks fantastic from Termi, which goes under, obviously won't mat up. So we're kind of screwed there. So realistically, the gamble is probably not going to pay off. But in saying that, we're going to work through it. We're going to see if we can make it work, but obviously make it work for the street, not just for the track. I've come up with a couple of ideas that we can do with this, and I'm not sort of worried that it's going to catch Actually, I am worried it's going to catch fire. Yeah, I'm not worried it's going to sort of break down or anything like that, but obviously that extra heat generated and with no protection can start sort of, slowly tarnishing and melting, all the finishes. So we don't want to sort of go there. The other thing we're going to be doing, because obviously with the system, it's got the 2 carbon fibre panels. We have the 2 bottom exhaust ports or holes, tips if you want to call it. We have to work out a way that we're going to sort of show them off. So we're also going to jump around and see Jeff Garland and see what he can do. So I've taken off the exhaust on the actual side fairing carbon, and we're going to see if there's somehow that we can obviously cut this plate off, because I think that'll look a bit dicky. Either use these tips and sort of have them fabricated on, or make our own custom sort of fabrication to sort of show sort of the style of the back and make it flow through. We want to make it look almost like it's OEM, like that's how it came from the factory. So yeah, so that's sort of where we're headed. So we're going to go ahead and see the boys now at CIC and then Jeff Garland, and then we'll be back and we'll do obviously a bit of a walk around so you can see the bike. We've put the tank on, we've put obviously the subframe on. Again, everything's just loosely bolted just to give us a bit of a feel for what it's going to be. But it's starting to look very, very exciting, and yeah, I will see you guys in a sec. Thanks.
Morning.
I've got a problem with my bike.
Yep.
So this is a race system,
Yep.
a Termi race system for the Street Fighter, but it's actually designed for the Panigale. And because it's race, it doesn't need to have any type of heat. Yeah, no cats, and no heat shielding and stuff like that. Now this is obviously the front part.
Yep.
The actual gap between that and the radiator fans is like 10 mil.
Right.
And yeah, the stock system's got like heat shielding all the way around it. This has got nothing. So I'm worried that stop-start traffic, which is what the bike's mainly going to be doing, it's going to heat up. So
Except when you're racing, of course, because it's race only.
exactly. So that's you feel my pain.
Yeah, I do.
You feel my pain. So I want to get it obviously ceramic coated.
You'd like some kind of really efficient thermal barrier on it so you don't cook your bits.
Pretty much. I know it's titanium and it's kind of sacrilege to sort of coat it, but
it's still pretty heavy for what it is.
Yeah. So I kind of need to do it now.
Yep.
How much is it going to reduce the temps? Is it like 5%, 2%? Is it even worth doing?
It would depend. See, everyone, you can claim anything you want, but in reality, it really depends on the vehicle, the tune, where you are, how you're riding it. But you could expect radiant temperature. See, there's surface temperature and there's radiant temperature, and they're different. If this ran at 1,000,000 degrees surface temperature, it wouldn't really bother you, as long as it was 0 just off. It's because it radiates heat, it starts to cook everything around, including the rider, the bike, the wiring, soaks into the frame, puts heat into the radiator, which helps, inhibits cooling, does all sorts of stuff. So what we need to do is we have to work out what bit do you see, if any, and then work out which would be the best way to go.
Okay.
It'll need an internal coating, which is thin, which is okay, just gives you the start of the reduction in the heat radiation. And then you can do single layers, double layers, or triple layers. Depends. So we do a lot of mining stuff, so we can do, if say you don't see this bit, and this is where the radiator is, we could do a special triple layer black ceramic here.
Yep.
There's like 3 layers of different types of ceramic on there. We've just done a lot for tugboats, and it works really well, and that would stop your radiator getting as hot. It's not as pretty, it just looks a little bit motley sometimes, but it'll dull back a bit, it'll be fine. And then where you can see more of the pipe, you perhaps just go to a double layered ceramic, which looks nicer, still works very good. It's how we've been doing turbos for like 17 years.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
what I'm thinking then, based on what you've said, I reckon we go the triple black just in this section.
Yep.
Because you pretty much don't see any of that till about there.
Yeah.
This you see it all, and the problem with this So this is the back of the bike.
Yes.
This is about 10 centimetres away from the fuel tank.
Yeah.
So Ducatis
you could probably do strips. If there's an area that you could do a triple coat strip, you could, because we can do that.
Okay.
So just a small section and the rest is double coat. It has no heat shielding on it or anything?
It's got nothing, but we are going to put like a special plate underneath with a special like gold thermal stuff to reduce, all that type of thing. And then also there's a carbon cover which goes on this side so it doesn't burn your butt cheek. But obviously this is, you're going to see a lot of this.
You can see that bit, yeah.
Yeah, so we want to I was thinking about doing that silver chromey ceramic.
Okay, well the polished ceramic is fantastic. I can actually do that double layered. The only problem is it's shiny because it's got a very high alloy content, and if it gets too hot it will start to go dull on the super hot parts of the exhaust pipe, which would be the bends. It wouldn't really be an issue, but because it'd still work fine, it just loses some of its appearance a bit. The rest of it be fine, shiny as, be great.
Yeah. So
same with this one. I can actually do a double coat here, but if you don't see that bit, I just go triple coat. I'll just kill it with the best that you can do, and then the rest you can do the polished ceramic.
Yep.
We, oddly enough, do a lot of mine site equipment that way because they like the look of it and they've tested it and it works really, really well. And it's flexible, and it just performs really well. So
okay, fantastic. All right,
and it will look good. So
yeah. So should we also do this? Maybe just these two sections in the black as well, you think?
Well, if you're not really going to see them or you think that you might hide them, I would just do the best that you could do here.
Yep.
We won't do the slip joint obviously because you just don't want to build up. And then from there, so this pipe onwards we do polished.
Yep.
This one we do like a triple coat black. Same with that one. This one we do polished. It actually looked pretty effective, to be honest.
Yeah.
Black and polished. It looked pretty cool.
All right, so I think we'll go that way. And do you think by doing that we might need to still maybe heat wrap?
No, because if you wrap a pipe,
you
will cause it to crack eventually.
Gotcha. So you don't like the heat wrapping?
Wrapping, I know, is very cool to look at and retro and everything else, but they don't do it to mine site equipment and they don't really do it to race cars anymore because extractors are really expensive and they don't want to make them crack, and they know that it will crack. And it reduces the life of the pipe quite dramatically. In fact, most exhaust manufacturers will not warranty a pipe if you wrap it.
There you go. Something you learn every day, which is great. Awesome. All right, well, I won't take up any more of your time. Let's get it all booked in and we'll go from there.
Cool,
awesome.
No problem.
Wow, well, that was exhausting running around. Sorry, I had to use that pun. So, in moving forward, we've run out of time this week, so the exhaust system's over at CIC in Welshpool to get ceramic coated, as we saw with Paul there. We also popped into Jeff Garland, but we'll show that video a little bit later. Just want to thank everyone for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Next week we're going to be fitting a couple of other parts to the Street Fighter. We don't want to just wait for the exhaust to be done, otherwise the build just blows out in time. So stay tuned for next week. We'll be looking at clutch covers and rear sets, so we'll get onto that. Again, thanks a lot, have a great day, and we'll see you soon. See ya.